Hi there, I'm Kathleen Jasper, and today I'm going to talk about some side hustles you can do as a teacher that may turn into a second career. I've gotten a few questions about how do I start a side hustle, or how do I leave teaching but have something that I can go into on the side that will bring in money? How do I quit my job? Well, I did it, and I'll share with you that process, and we'll talk a little bit about how you can get started and how you can develop this into maybe a second career. Let's get started. So I've had a few emails of people asking me questions like, what can I do with my teaching skills that's outside of education? Or I'm thinking of leaving my job in education. How can I transfer my knowledge and skills to make a second career? And there are lots of ways in which teachers, administrators, those of you who work in education can transfer out of education and have a side hustle, or even start a new venture, maybe your own business or something like that. I did that. So I quit my public education job in 2014. So I can't believe it's been 9 years. It was the end of 2014. And I didn't really know what I was going to do. I had an idea, but I didn't really have anything going on. And everybody thought I was crazy. Obviously, I'm quitting my job. I was an assistant principal on my way to become a principal. I was in the trajectory of my career, but I couldn't do it anymore. And most people would have something ready to jump into and kind of have a side hustle first and then ease into that. I did not. I jumped into the deep end without a life preserver and just kind of went for it. The first year was really tough. I didn't know what I was doing. I was trying to think of ideas and things like that. And I thought that I would do professional development, like as a consultant. That's what I thought my business was going to be. But you have to understand, when you start something on the side, or you start a new career or your own business, what you think it's going to be isn't always what it is. And so the first thing I would say to those of you who are thinking about trying something else is to be flexible. And when ideas come in, be open to those ideas. So here's what happened. I was trying to put myself out there as a consultant. I really wanted to do professional development for school districts, things like that. That's where my skills lie. Obviously, I do that now. And I wasn't getting anywhere because I was on my own. I was a no-named person, and it really wasn't taking shape. I was blogging and I was doing a few things here and there, but I wasn't really able to make that a business. And then one day, a former student's parent called me and said, "Hey, my son needs help with ACT. Can you tutor him?" And I thought, well, I don't really want to do that. That wasn't really my vision, right? But at that time, I needed to bring in a few bucks. So I said yes. And I worked with this student. Obviously, I was a high school teacher before I was an assistant principal. So I was a teacher already. And so I knew how to do it. I studied the ACT book right before our session, and we worked on ACT. Well, I was able to get him from a 22. I think the first time he took it, he got a 22. I got him he did it, but I helped him get a 27. And his father was thrilled. And his father played golf with all the people in my area, their parents. And so he started talking. And before I knew it, I got another phone call. Can you do ACT with my son? Can you do ACT with my daughter? And I got about 4 clients. Now, in my mind, I thought this will just be the thing I do until I do the real thing that I want to do, which was be a consultant. And I started helping these students get good scores on their ACT, and it turned into also some college coaching for their essays and things like that to get into college. And I was thinking, I didn't like going to their house. Like, when you're a tutor, you kind of schlep it to their house and they're like cooking dinner. It's kind of weird being in somebody else's house, So I thought, let me see if I can find an office. And so I went to this office building that was near my neighborhood. I had been looking at it for a long time, never really paid much attention, but I thought, let me see if maybe there's a small space I could rent. So I went in and I toured it, and there were some very small offices. And I think they were like $400 a month at the time. And I thought, oh, $400. I need to get like a couple more clients in order to make this office space work. But I thought, if I could have a space where they come to me, number one, it's more professional. And number two, I don't have to deal with like driving to people's homes and things like that. And so I'm someone who kind of goes for it and hopes for the best and works hard. And so I did. I signed the lease there, and I thought, if I can get 2 or 3 more clients, I can afford this office space. And once I did that, it was almost like the universe shifted towards me a little bit in this career. And I started having clients meet me at my office. And before I knew it, I was bringing in a lot more clients. And then that developed into group sessions. They had a conference table in this office building. And so I thought, well, I can only make so much money doing one-to-one academic coaching, right? So let me do a group session on Wednesday nights for 10 kids and charge them as like a cohort. Like for 8 sessions, we're going to work 8 weeks all the way up to the ACT exam. And so I charged them, and then that was 8 people all at once in a room, 8 to 10, all at once in a room. And I was able to generate a little more income that way. And then those kids started doing well on their ACT. And then their parents talked. And before I knew it, people were signing up for the next cohort and the next cohort. So it started off as just a one-to-one session at the student's house, turned into me going to an office to rent that, one-to-one sessions at my office, and then group sessions in the conference room. Then I was getting my doctorate in educational leadership still. I was still keeping that going, even though I had quit my job as an assistant principal. And one of my colleagues in the classes asked, hey, I know you're doing ACT, but have you ever thought about teacher certification exams? And I thought, well, I've taken them obviously, and I'm doing ACT. Let me see. And so I started kind of looking at those exams and realizing, yeah, I could totally prep people for this. And that's when things just kind of exploded. People were coming to my offices for group sessions for the teacher certification exams. I started doing YouTube videos to kind of go with it. And then I started self-publishing on Amazon, these study guides. They started off as little dinky study guides, not very good. Now, my study guides, let me grab this. Now they're, 500 pages, but this study guide started off as like a tiny little 100-page study guide that I posted on Amazon. And now I have like 30 of these books, different assessments. And of course, now full circle, I'm doing professional development, right? I'm doing it on YouTube. I'm doing it with my live webinars. I'm doing it with, talking to you right now. So one of the things I would say about starting your own side hustle and utilizing your skills is that you have to be open for something to be a little bit different than what you envisioned it to be. Like you may have in your mind, I want to tutor students in reading, right? And that might be your best thing that you do, but you might get a call about writing, or you might get a call about a standardized assessment or things like that. Be open and willing to kind of adapt a little bit so that you can start to see where the need is. The need that I was filling was the ACT prep need. Then that turned into the teacher certification exams because so many people were having trouble passing those exams. And then before I knew it, I was basically a painkiller, right? The pain was they couldn't pass the test or they couldn't get the scores they needed. And I came in and helped them with that pain. And so that developed into what you see today. Now it's been 9 years and I have, done different things. Some things have failed colossally. I have made major mistakes. We have been through a lot. I've also had triumphs. Things have worked out. It's just staying the course and keeping, the machine going, doing something every day so that you can start to build up your clientele or your viewers or things like that. So if you're thinking about starting a side hustle, I would say, number one, tutoring is a great way to start. You may want to meet students in the library or whatever. And a lot of times schools will allow you to be a tutor on the side. Like the school that I worked at, we had a list of teachers who tutored and they charged their own money. You couldn't tutor your own students, but you were allowed to tutor other students. So that's something you might want to look into and see if you can do that. You can do what I'm doing right now and do a YouTube channel. This takes time to get good at. Your first couple of videos might be really boring, but if you're passionate about math or reading and you want to put it out there, just try it. Just film yourself, do a TikTok. Who cares? You got to start to try different things and see what you like. You can also, work on being a consultant, but you might want to consider going through another company in order to do that. It's very hard to just become a consultant on your own. Now I consult, but they see me on YouTube. I have some credibility. When you first start out, you don't have any credibility. So they're like, why would we hire you? We don't know who you are, right? So you may want to be a consultant, and there are plenty of companies that pay lots of money for education consultants, for textbook companies, things like that. For me, I didn't want to work for anyone anymore. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to do my own thing, and I did it. But it was very scary. I was broke for a long time. It took a lot of practice and trying things and stuff like that. But I do believe if you start to do something and you continue doing it and you get better and better, you will make money at it. You will find a way to adapt, to find the need, fill the holes, kill the pain, and you will be able to, start to provide that service. For me, I always want to come from a place of service. Like, where do people need me? That's what I want to do. And so that's really helped in helping steer me. The other thing is you've got to be open to things that don't really look like your vision. You might have it in your mind, like, I want to write curriculum that, for a certain textbook company, or I want to do professional development, or I want to tutor in math. But there may be a problem somewhere else that your skills help to solve. So just be open and adaptive so that you can kind of go where the need is. The last thing I'll say is that when you're an educator, you have done so many things. So you are leading people all the time. You're communicating with stakeholders. You're analyzing data. You're developing curriculum. You're executing that curriculum. You're being engaging with students. There are so many things that you do as a teacher that can be applied to all different areas. Whether you want to go work in the business world for somebody else, or if you're like me and you're like, I don't ever want to work for anybody again, start your own thing. You can start to see where your skills can help other people. And now you don't even need an office to do it. You can have a Zoom account and do tutoring online and build a clientele that way. And you never even have to get in your car and drive anywhere. Now, if you're teaching online, it has to be engaging. You have to kind of adapt it in a way so that they're not bored or whatever, but there's always ways you can do that. You could help other teachers. If you're really good at lesson planning, if you're really good at organizing classrooms, you can just start making videos about that. And I am telling you right now, someone will contact you and say, hey, do you do one-to-one academic coaching or consultations? I always get that now. Do you do one-to-one academic coaching? Now we've gotten so big that I don't do one-to-one because I don't have enough time in the day to do one-to-one. But starting out, I always did one-to-one. And then I went to group sessions. And then I got into, where people buy my online courses and things like that. But I didn't start out with a YouTube channel, online courses, 30 textbooks on Amazon. I started out myself in my car, driving to kids' houses and prepping them for the ACT. And it just starts to evolve. So I would say go for it if you want to try it out. If you're unlike me and you need a little bit of security before you just quit your job and move on to something else, you can start this on the side. Maybe you do one client every Wednesday night. You do some tutoring online or at the library, or maybe on Saturdays, you do a Saturday session with several students. Whatever it is, try it out. People will start to gravitate towards you. You'll be the person they go, oh, you need to call her or him. He does math tutoring and my son went up, so many points. Word of mouth is the way to get your business out there. Now, if you want more videos on this, I certainly have a step-by-step process of starting your own business. I started it from a laptop by myself in my apartment, scared out of my mind that I had just quit my very good job in education. So I have made a lot of mistakes along the way, but I know the process and how I got here. So if you're interested in more videos like this, how to go from a teacher to an entrepreneur or to a business owner, I'm obsessed with that topic. I would love to talk more about it, but I have gotten a few questions about tutoring and things like that. And I thought I would film this today. But if this is something you want to learn more about, let me know in the comments and I'll do more videos about this. All right. I hope that helped today. Have an awesome day. Bye.